Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. So inshallah today we will learn and understand some verses of the Quran about the marriage, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has defined the relationship between a man and a woman, and how the progeny of Adam alayhi salam will be based with the righteousness upon the process of marriage and wedding. So first we will learn some ayats of the Quran, and again, as I said, it's not a lecture or a bayan, but it is an effort to understand the verses of the Quran. So please follow along with me when I explain the meanings of some of these verses, inshallah. And then we will follow a few other things after that how the nikah should be performed, what is the khutbah of nikah, which a person who is solemnizing the marriage reads, and then how the nikah is actually performed when the bride and groom are present. And then some suggestions after that. So inshallah we will start with the verse from Surah An-Naba, ayat number Surah number 78, ayat number 8. It is starting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wa khalaqnakum azwaja. This is one of the verses of the surah. And the meaning is that here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing the mankind, all the people on the earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing by saying, and we have created all of you, men and women including, azwaja. Azwaja is the actual word is azwajun, and it's the plural of zawjun. Zawjun means a pair, and a pair has a husband and a wife, or a man and a woman. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the purpose of the creation is that the two, male and female, will be paired together. And amazingly in the language, the word zawj is used for the wife if it is husband, and for husband if it is wife. So it's a mutual for both. Then after that we'll go to the Surah An-Nisa, ayat number 1, Surah number 4, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in more details mentioning the creation of the human being and its spouse, the mankind, and the purpose of this thing. So again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing all the mankind, not only those who believe, but all the mankind, by saying, Ya ayyuhan nasu taqu. O the mankind of all the people, you believe in Allah or not, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is commanding them, it's a hukum, it's a command, have taqwa, have fear, have consciousness of whom? Allah is using the word Rabbakum, your Lord. And again, the definition of the Lord is the one who is sustaining you, your existence on the face of this earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after that, khalaqakum min nafsin wahida. He is the one who has created all of you. Allah is addressing all the mankind, is starting with a single person, single soul, single being. And this is pointing to Adam alayhi salam. That was the beginning of the creation of mankind. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that He started with that one single man, one single person. Then Allah says, وَخَلَقَ مِنْهَا زَوْجَهَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, now the literal meaning is that from this nafs wahida, from this one single person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made or created its spouse, its female mate. Some people take a very narrow meaning of that by saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Adam alayhi salam was there, the first man was there. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took a part of his body or some rib or something and made a woman out of that. only Allah knows where do they get these kind of explanations. Here, the deeper meaning is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the mankind, the human being, that the other person, the female who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created after creating the man, has similar nature as the man. They both have emotions, except there is difference in the physical appearance of two. Rest is same. They both have intellectual level, they both have emotions, they both have the feelings of love. So they are of the same kind. So when they come together, they can coincide and match. If it was one creation like a man and the other creation of a jinn, it will not work. So the female which is created has this similar nature as the male or the man, so they can coexist. Then Allah says, وَبَثَّ مِنْهُمَا رِجَالًا كَثِيرًا. The word minhuma, huma means two. By the combination of the two, the male and the female, and here it is pointing to Adam and his spouse, Hawa. By the joining of those two, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that He spread on this face of this earth, Rijalan kathiran wa nisa. Rijal is the man, plural of man, and Nisa is the plural of women. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says kathir, a lot of people, lot of males and lot of females have been placed on this earth, and we know that the number is so huge. Even in the present time, it's in billions, not you're talking about hundreds and thousands, but in billions and millions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again reminds, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ الَّذِي تَسَاءَلُونَ بِهِ وَالْأَرْحَامَ. Two things are being mentioned near the end of the ayat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying that have taqwa, have fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because when you run into some situation, you're some in disagreement, you refer back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh, for the sake of God, do this for me. For the sake of God, do that for me. Tasa'aluna bihi. You ask each other. And then Allah says, have fear about the arham. What is arham? Arham is the plural of the raham. Raham is the womb of the mother, womb of the female, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, have fear about the relationship. The simple meaning will be that fear about the relationship between those children who come out of the same womb, sisters and brothers. But then this spreads out to the kinship. All your relatives are in one way or the other connected to you through the wombs of your mothers. So have taqwa, have fear, which means Allah is saying that have good relation among each other. Okay. Inna Allah kana alaykum raqiba. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching over you, every one of you. Now, so the arham is mentioned, which means the children are born. Female are born, male are born. Then they grow up. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes to the next ayat of Surah Al-Furqan, ayat number 74, Surah number 25. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is advising the mankind, especially the male first, that when it is a time to join hands, when it is time to get married, first make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that beautiful dua is mentioned here. It's a preparation for the marriage. Even before collecting worldly things, sit down and make dua in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Very beautiful dua. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَالَّذِينَ يَقُولُونَ. He's talking about those people who are righteous people. They say, they make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا. O our Lord, now this is a collective dua. O our Rabb, give us our spouses. What kind of spouses? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to mention that, but before that, He is mentioning one more thing. وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا. Dhurriyatina is the plural of dhurriyatun, children. Our children. So not only that, we are asking dua, making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I'm going to get married, I'm getting ready to get married. Oh Allah, give us a spouse who is righteous, who is pious, who can be my company for rest of my life. And not only stopping there, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching that make dua that the progeny, the children who will be born are righteous children, are kind children, are best children. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses a beautiful word, qurrata a'yunin. What is qurrata a'yunin? A'yunin is the plural of aynun, and ayn means eye. A'yunin means two eyes. Qurratun means coolness, comfort. And this is a muhawara, this is an idiom. Dua is such that, oh Allah, give me a spouse, and through her give me children who will be the coolness of my eyes, comfort of my eyes, sukoon of my eyes. They are pleasure for me when they are growing in front of me. And the wife who is living with me is the pleasure for me. So all these things are counted in the qurrata a'yunin, coolness of my eyes, because I'm getting on a journey where now I will be living a different life. I will be living with another human being 24 hours a day, and then there are more human beings are going to join me as my zurriyatina, my children. So make this life a comfort for me, best for me, obedient to you. Then Allah says that you're making dua for your spouse and you're making dua for your children, but make dua for yourself also by saying, وَجْعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. Oh Allah, make me those who go ahead in having taqwa, having fear of you, having consciousness of you. So after making this dua, we go to the next part, next ayat, the next page, Surah Ar-Rum, Surah number 30, ayat number 21. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayat is now replying, beautiful, by saying, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ, and among his signs, among the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ, that He has created for you, He's addressing the people, what He has created for you from within your own selves. It's just the same thing, of your own kind, of your own type. Azwajan, the spouses, plural. Every man has a spouse, and for all the men, their spouses, they are females. For the females, the spouses are the males. And word Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has used after that very beautifully. لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. Let me explain this word. The word that most of us know, sukoon. This word is from that. لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. So you may find sukoon, you may find peace, you may find tranquility, you may find comfort of your eyes with the other spouse. Allah says, خَلَقَكُمْ خَلَقَ. He has created for you, and the purpose of the creation and the marriage is that you may find sukoon, peace in your house, kindness among each other. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says something that He has placed in the nature of both male and female by saying, وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. He has made among you, He has placed among you, among the males and females, two words Allah is using. Mawaddatun wa rahmatun. What is mawadda? Mawadda is a feeling of love which is natural in the human body. You don't have to go and practice this thing. You don't have to go and learn this thing. This is something which Allah has placed in the nature of the human being, that a female, a male have this mawadda between them. This sense of love. A husband and a wife have this love between the two, that is by nature is mawaddatun, muhabbat, love. And the other thing is this rahmat. Rahma is a mercy. And mercy, you have to show mercy even though you have the authority of doing something, but you don't do something at that time when you are in a certain emotion. You control yourself. That is rahma. When you are angry upon your wife, or a wife is angry upon the husband, that is the time to practice this ayat. Show the rahmah, suppress your emotions, anger, and be kind to the other person, because this is the nature of the human being. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that He has placed in the nature, after you two have combined together in marriage, love, which is mahabbat, which is mawadda, and rahmat, which is the mercy. So you have to practice these things which are present in you. You don't need to suppress those things. You have to express those things. You have to let the other partner know in your life that you really love that person. And then by your behavior, by your attitude, be kind, show mercy. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is preparing for the marriage to start and continue. Then we will learn 2 more ayat. Then the marriage takes place. If we go to next ayat, Surah Al-Araf, ayat number 189, Surah number 7. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that make dua now, once you have been married, that Allah gives you the salih, the beautiful, the kind, the nice children. Okay, starting it very nicely, the ayat leads to that point. Huvalladhi khalaqakum. Allah again reminds the mankind, He is the one who has created all of you. Min nafsim wahida, starting with a single soul, single person, your father Adam. وَجَعَلَ مِنْهَا زَوْجَهَا, and He has made from it of its kind the zawj, the spouse. لِيَسْكُنَ إِلَيْهَا, same word is being used by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you may find sukoon with her, and she may find sukoon with you, peace of mind, kindness, love, understanding. All those things will bring the sukoon. It's a very common word in language, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying that He has created both of you and He has given you this spouse, so you may find sukoon with him or with her. Not only that, now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the man, فَلَمَّا تَغَشَّاهَا, when he covered her, instead of going to more details, very nicely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that when he covered her, which means he had intimate relationship with her, what happened? Hamalat hamlan khafifan, she got pregnant, and a very light pregnancy, and she did not even realize that she is pregnant now. Allah says, فَمَرَّتْ بِهِ, she started walking around not knowing that another human is being developed in her womb. Khafif, very light, beginning of the pregnancy. Then Allah said, as the time went on, فَلَمَّا أَثْقَلَتْ, then one day she realized that she is heavy, she's pregnant. So she immediately told her husband, I'm pregnant. So both of them were very pleased, very happy, but then they fell into this fear. How is this child? How is he going to be born? What will happen? All those worries will start worrying them. So they sat down and made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is quoting their dua. Da'awallaha, they made dua to, both of them made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rabbahuma, to their Lord. They were making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the dua they are making? La inna ataitana, if, O Allah, you gave us salihan, a righteous child, a beautiful child, a kind child. My wife is pregnant. Oh Allah, they are making dua that give us a child who is comfort of our eyes, who is nice, who is kind, who is beautiful. all right things they are making dua. Allah says, "La lanakunanna minash shakirin." So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we will be thankful to you, Allah, if you gave us a beautiful, kind child. So this process is moving on. One more ayat and then I'll go to the different topic. This ayat is again from the next Surah An-Nahl, Surah number 16, ayat number 72, that Allah says that His purpose of creation did not stop there. He is going to give you further generation, progeny, grandchildren. That's the ayat. Again, Allah says, "Wallahu ja'ala lakum min anfusikum azwaja." It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has made, who has placed for you within among yourselves your spouses. He has created. وَجَعَلَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَزْوَاجِكُمْ, and He has made, He has given to you through your spouses two words, Banina wa Hafadatan. Banina is the first generation, your own children. Hafadatan is the grandchildren. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is spreading the process by giving you, not only you, but children to your children. Those are hafadatan. Allah says this is the blessing, this is the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You should be thankful that now you are carrying a whole generation behind you. Your children and children, and so on and so forth. Allah is promising, وَرَزَقَكُم مِّنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ. All these we are creating, they are not your responsibility. Allah will provide them. So don't worry about limiting the number of children or this or that. Allah is the provider, Allah is the Razzaq, and He provides tayyibat, the best good things to eat. So Allah is addressing the man, then afa bil batili yu'minuna. So is it that you believe in the falsehood, rumors, this logic, that logic, and wa bi ni'matillahi yakfurun, and you are going to deny the ni'mah, the blessing, the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are the steps that Allah is preparing and doing to bring the human generation on the face of this earth after marriage, through marriage. Now, again, let's go to the next page. Those were the verses of the Quran which are leading towards the marriage and the family and all those things. Now, I'm going to discuss something about performing marriage. Allah, in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and in the sight of the Prophet and all the prophets, the ceremony of nikah, the getting together and joining the hands between two people, a husband and a wife, a bride and a groom, is a sacred phenomena, is a sacred thing. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always prefers that you perform this activity in a place which is clean, which is sacred, which is respectable. So perform marriage at masjid. And there is many advantages of that. Not only that, the ceremony will remain sacred, but the people who are going to come and attend, they will have the opportunity to pray at masjid at least one or twice in the evening, usually, by Jamaat, with the Jamaat. So this is additional benefit, but that's just the benefit. How and what is the purpose? Next few lines are mentioning that. First of all, Allah has commanded. This is a command, this is an order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to get married. He has invited many places mankind to get married, to be tied to each other with a ceremony of nikah, starting your joint life with the sacredness of the activity of nikah. Number one. Number two, it's a relationship. Always regard that this relationship between a husband and a wife, between two members of a society, is defined, is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So anything which is presented and given and offered as a blessing to you, which in this case it is the joining of the relationship, is a very sacred activity. It is not something that people decide on their own, but it is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed. And note that in all other creations, this kind of phenomena does not exist. Other in the animals, in other places, they join, then they go away. Then next time, breeding session, somebody else, some other animal joins with this female, go away. But in this case of humankind, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed this sacredness that you start your life by joining, in the presence of the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Marriage, by performing the marriage, by joining the hands, you are actually doing a submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are actually working towards the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, you are going to be happy after that because you are getting each other. But while you are getting married, keep in mind that you are also fulfilling the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you are doing a sacred phenomena which Allah has called it sacred. It's again the sunnah of all the prophets to get married, and sunnah of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to get married, to live your life after you get married. Then these are the highlights. Then when the nikah takes place, people gather together, and we will follow up some of these in the next page. But when the nikah starts, and again, it's ideal that it is performed in a sacred place, which is masjid is the best place to do that. I'm going to translate, not heavily, some of these verses which are recited at the time of nikah by the person who is performing the nikah. And this is called marriage sermon or khutbatul nikah. Amazingly, most of the ayats which are recited in the khutbah of nikah are similar which are recited in the Salatul Jum'ah. When Khatib in Salatul Jum'ah of Friday khutbah, he recites the ayats, these are very much the similar ayats. So the reason I want to translate and explain quickly these ayats, because if we understand these ayats here, we would be able to understand the Arabic part of the khutbah, which more or less every khatib recites before the English speech. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Alhamdulillah, all the praises for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nahmaduhu, we glorify Him, we praise Him. Wa nasta'inuhu, just follow with me on these verses. Wa nasta'inuhu, and we seek help with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَنَسْتَغْفِرُهُ, and we ask forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَنَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ شُرُورِ أَنفُسِنَا وَمِنْ سَيِّئَاتِ أَعْمَالِنَا. If you ponder on this ayat while the nikah is being performed, see what Allah is saying. Oh Allah, we make dua to you that protect us, save us from the shurur, from the evil of our own hearts. We are getting married, two individuals are coming together, bring out the best among us and not the evil that is hidden in our hearts, be the part of our lives together. Shururi anfusina. O Allah, we seek protection with you that we do the wrong deeds. Sayyi'ati a'malina means in our deeds, please keep the evil away from us. Then the Khatib is saying, he's claiming something which Allah is claiming in the Quran. The next ayat, Man yahdihillah. So whomsoever Allah decided to guide, because he is submitting to Allah, he is performing this activity in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says, Fala mudilla lahu, so there is no one who can mislead such a person. وَمَنْ يُضْلِلْهُ, but if you are arrogant, you are disobedient, Allah will leave you in the state of misguidance. فَلَا هَادِيَ لَهُ, after that you will not find anyone who can be a guide to you. وَأَشْهَدُ أَنْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ, you bear witness that there is no one worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَحْدَهُ لَا شَرِيكَ, He is the only one, there is no partnership. you are confirming your faith, you are listening to these ayat of the Quran at the time of the nikah. So these should go in the minds, if you understand the meaning of these, in the minds of the spouses who are getting married, the husband and the wife, and the audience also. Because now they are going to start their life. If their life is according to the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it will be a pleasure for them also. وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ وَرَسُولُهُ, and I bear witness. The bride and groom should repeat these ayats by saying that I bear witness there is no one worthy of worshipping except one Allah, and the Prophet that we are following his teaching is our guide. He is an abd, he is a servant of Allah, and he was a messenger. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, next three lines are the similar which are recited in during the khutbah nikah, but these are the same ayat which I have previously translated in the beginning. So I will go to the next 2-3 ayats which are recited. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding, have fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, haqqa tuqatihi, as is the right to fear him. Wala tamutunna, make sure the death does not come to you, illa except wa antum muslimun, you are in the state of submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, now ponder on this ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullah. Ayat constantly starts with fear Allah, have taqwa, have consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah here is saying, وَقُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا. It's a plural. Qulu means you say, you all say. Husband says, wife says. The people who are around them, they will be the part of their lives, their in-laws, their relatives. Allah is saying, reminding them, not only in Salatul Jummah, not any other time, but this is very important time. Qulu qawlan sadida. Say the righteous words. When you speak, be straightforward. When you are angry, do not say those things which will bring the problem, difficulties in your life. Relatives, don't say those things which may create an issue between this couple who is just not getting married. Qulu qawlan. Qawlan means a word, a statement, a speech. Anything that you say is a qawl. Any word you are talking to the other person is a qawl. Sadida means straightforward, simple. Don't be ambiguous in your statement. Don't say something which may create the doubts in the minds of the husband or wife. The instruction, the listening of this khutbah is not only for husband and wife who are getting married, for all the people who are sitting there, who are almost all the relatives first and then the others. So relatives are very important, either to keep the marriage going smoothly or causing the problem in the married life of a couple. So Quran is instructing to them right in the beginning, you go home, watch, leave them alone. Say good things to them. Say good things about them to others. Do not start spreading the rumors and the lies and those relationships which are hard to maintain. Keep them calm and quiet. Ulu qawlan sadida. Allah is promising you something. In the next page, He's saying if you do that, if you just watch your tongue in the relationship, yuslih lakum a'malakum, as a reward of that, Allah will correct your deeds. Allah will reform your deeds. Allah will bring you to do those deeds which are the righteous deeds. وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ, and He will forgive you your sins. Just by watching your tongue, speaking the right word, speaking the right statement is so rewarding that Allah will correct your wrong deeds. He will forgive you for those things. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the last part of the khutbah is that وَمَن يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ, whosoever obeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do the ataat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَرَسُولِهِ, and His messenger, فَقَدْ فَازَ فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا, he has indeed achieved a great success. This is the end of the Arabic part of the khutbah. I hope that our khutbah khatib of nikah translate these ayats and explain these ayats, how important they are, but they just quickly go and read in Arabic and want this thing to be over. Now, after that comes the time to perform the nikah. How the nikah is performed is a very simple process. Anyone can perform the nikah. Anyone who can be respected by both parties can perform the nikah. Okay, but we have usually handed over this activity to some people only. We call them qadi. They come and they charge you a lot of money and then they just go. Allah says the rules are here. Nikah must be performed when the two pairs, or husband and wife, or bride or groom actually, are sitting together. A person, third person, who is going to join their hands together in the marriage should do this in the presence of two other people. They are called two witnesses. Ideally, one witness should be from the side of the bride, one witness should be from the side of the groom, husband and wife. There is no requirement, as I found, that witness cannot be a female. It can be a female, but our custom is that we all bring a male all the time as a witness. But that's a separate thing. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, according to the teaching of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is teaching us how the nikah is going to get done. Perform mutual agreement. It's a mutual agreement on both sides between the bride and the groom. Just follow what I'm reading here. First thing, the person, the qadi or the person who is performing the nikah, he has to say something, and that's called proposal. And in Arabic it's called ijab. What is proposal, or what's the ijab is that he turns to the bride, he first asks the bride. He turns himself towards the lady, towards the bride, and if it is a strictly parda observing gathering, that the wali, the person, maybe the father or some other person who represent the female, he is sitting there, so he turns to him. Okay. Either way, nowadays, her bride and husband usually are present in that gathering. So he turns his attention towards the female, to the lady. And then he is going to say, are you willing, if she is willing, to accept, and then he will mention the name of the groom, name of the boy, as your husband. That's all he has to say. Are you willing to take such and such person, his name, the man is sitting there, as your husband? The response that comes out of her mouth is called acceptance in English, and in Arabic and Urdu it's called qabul. She should answer only one word, yes. Her part is done. Then the qadi, the person who is performing the nikah, he will turn towards the male, towards the boy. And this is called again proposal, ijab. He will say to the boy, are you going to accept, and the name of the girl, as your wife? That is the question, that's a proposal, that's ijab. His answer should again be, not long lecture, anything, yes, that's all. Okay, nikah is done. Okay, this is the whole process. Does not even take 5 minutes to do that. Okay, in a sacred environment with dignity and respect, but these two witnesses should be sitting and watching that, because these are the two witnesses who are going to sign the paperwork also. One thing is not finished yet. Meher. According to Surah An-Nisa, Surah number 4, ayat number 4, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the translation of the ayat is, and give the woman at the marriage their nikah gift. The word nikah, gift. Let's lost the battery on this one. Yeah, there's no battery. Just a couple of minutes. So we were talking about the mahar. The literal meaning of mahar is bridal gift. It's called dowry, or it can be given at the time, all of it, part of it, or some of it can be given at the time, maybe the same day or next day, or some afterwards. It's what it is. It's agreeable amount which is agreed before the wedding took place between the spouse, husband and wife, that as a bridal gift he is going to give some money to her. Usually it's in the form of money. This can be done, it's called mahar muajjal or mawajjal, which means a part of this can be given at that time, at the time of wedding. A part can be given later, but it is a mutually agreed amount between the spouses, between the husband and wife. So this is all is needed, because this word, this mahar amount has to be spoken there. So it is agreed that both of them have agreed, and it has been pronounced there at that time that this will be the mahar. That is the end of the ritual or practice for performing the nikah. After that, you have to do the paperwork and accordingly submit to the state or county so they can issue a license. The witnesses will sign the paperwork. One thing which is required in the, not only in the state of California but mostly, that before the ceremony of nikah takes place, the husband and wife before have to go to the county office, have to get the marriage certification or license, which means permission to get married. They have to satisfy the requirements of the state that we are qualified to be married, we are not underage, or we are not this or that. Satisfy the requirements, they will issue each of them. In some cases, they require the medical test and medical examinations also. But that should be done as I was saying, that the marriage license or permission to get married is obtained before the marriage or nikah ceremony takes place. Qazi will not perform the nikah if he does not see these two items. Each of them have to get separately, and you have to go in person to the state office to get that license. It's a common practice, people know that thing. And the person who is performing the nikah is a qualified person authorized by the state or the county, and he signs, his signature will be accepted, and a marriage certificate will be released. The paperwork has to be turned in within 5 days or so. One very interesting thing that I found out when I was exploring, for example, in the state of California, who is authorized to solemnize or be a qadi or perform the nikah? A retired judge or a judge can do that without any issue. But state says that a religious institute, for example our Islamic Center, can submit a name to the county office this person will be the nikah performer. That's all. They will say yes, fine with us, and they will have his name in record. So when the marriage paperwork are submitted back to the state or county, they verify that this is the person we had authorized and his signature are there. That is all. There is no other requirement. Only this religious institute, a church, a gurdwara or a masjid has to approach the county office and tell them this is a person, this is his name, he is going to be our marriage solemnizer, our nikah performer. They will accept it. There is no hard requirement that you should be an alim, you should have a degree from here, a degree from there, or you should be paid thousands of dollars to perform the nikah and all those things. There is no requirement of any kind. All it is, the person should be registered with the state, and that he can do that thing. Okay. So now, with that, I on the last page I mentioned few things that we should encourage, we should promote that nikah should take place in the masajid, in the Islamic centers. Why? Because it has advantages. Not only that, it's a sacred activity, but it will keep the music and dancing out of the marriage ceremony. Okay? In masajids, they don't allow the music and dancing. So those people who are serious, those people who are sincere, they want their marriage according to the sunnah and the ahkam of the Quran, they should be invited. We should promote in the society, in the community, that arrange your marriage to take place in a masjid, in an Islamic center. Most Islamic centers have nice big halls nowadays. They can use those and nikah can be performed there. It will keep all useless things that have become part of the marriage ceremony out of the marriage. Also, it will be less expensive. I have heard that people have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars over renting the very lavish halls, decorating them, renting the equipment for playing the music, loud music, all kinds of dancing activities. Those are all un-Islamic. A religious center, Islamic center, a masjid should work between its community and itself to promote that nikah activity should take place inside the masajid according to the teachings of the Quran and Sunnah, not unnecessary activities that have become part of this thing. Yes, in the masjid, in the hall, you can still take the pictures, you can still make the video, there is no issue with that. But all those unnecessary activities which have become part of our culture should go away. So that is what on the last page I have proposed, that just make one or two people more familiar with that. They should advise the couple, go and get the license. This is the place to go and get the license. This is how long it will take you to get the license. Go and do the paperwork. Masjid or Islamic center will help you as much as to get your paperwork done before the marriage, and after that we will try to help you make sure that everything is done accordingly. So, and then obviously it is going to be obeying the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this was just my proposal at the end, and with that, inshallah, we'll stop here. There is nothing, there was a question about that I was starting some program here. I was not starting any program. This is the only proposal, that we should perform the marriage in the masajid, and we should help the community members, to invite them, to help them towards this activity. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our efforts, combined of all the community, masajid, and Muslims in this land to show our Islamic and Quranic nature and behavior. Sadaqallahu Azim, just want to point out that, and that should not be taken as related to this one. A week after, next week, is my presentation again, and the topic is divorce according to Quran. Okay, so I will go over the ayats of the Quran which talk about the right procedure. Presently, in most of the cultures, Muslim societies, the divorce is practiced wrong. What is the right way to practice the divorce? Well, may Allah save, if we don't need that. But unfortunately, when it happens, how Quran guides us step by step towards that. So inshallah, 2 weeks, a week from now, 2 weeks, I will be talking about the Quranic process of talaq, divorce, inshallah.